Guys, welcome all to Nerd Strategy. Today I'm going to be talking to you about Beetlejuice. I know a lot of us been kind of looking forward to this for this Halloween season. I felt that the movie was messy. That is putting it the best way I could put it. I thought it was just really messy. Now, while I do say it was messy, I did enjoy watching this movie. But let me go over what I had issues with the movie. Kind of rushed. I felt like if it stuck in the oven while they were editing it, it would have probably been better. And if they fleshed out the script a little bit more during the end of the climax, it would have been definitely 20 times better than it was. So, now we get into the point. Catherine O'Hara reprises the role of Delia Deeds, Winona Ryder, Lydia. You have Michael Keaton coming back from there, and then you have new faces. A lot of them we kind of know. Willem Dafoe, Boondock Saints kind of fame right there. The Green Goblin. And then Jenna Ortega from Wednesday. Scream, like the new movies of Scream. Have her in there. And then we have Monica Bellucci playing Beetlejuice's ex-wife, and then a cameo by Danny DeVito. Then, of course, you have a couple of actors missing from this for various reasons. Jeffrey Jones, who played Charles Dietz, he can't reprise his role because I believe he's kind of in jail for some underage misconduct type stuff. I'll simplify it as that. And then Alec Baldwin, he's been kind of blacklisted since he accidentally shot someone in the face. Whole another story to go off of that, so it makes sense why he wouldn't be in this. And then Gina Davis played the other Maitland, and obviously people have aged because this movie, or the original movie, came out 30 years ago. Now, they originally shot this during literally the whole workers or the acting guild strike and stuff that went on, where no one was really able to do anything except for sit at home, basically. So they had to improvise a little bit in this. And I get that. Some things I felt they could have improved upon, though, which would have worked for it. For example, when they're explaining Charles Dietz's character when he passes away, I mean, if you've seen the trailers, obviously no surprise there. They do this stop motion thing for a flashback. Fine, just all fine and dandy with that, right? I mean, Tim Burton's obviously really good with stop motion. It works. And then I was hoping that when they did another flashback later on, they would have stuck with the stop motion. Instead, they changed their style of editing for that, which kind of messes with me a little bit, because, I mean, I get it's during the pandemic, or not the pandemic, but the workers' acting strike type thing, and they could have shot the thing and whipped it together over like a couple of hours. But, either way, it was kind of jarring that they did that and took it out of the frame. And that's really my only main complaint here. That's why it felt really messy to me. Now, it does have like 3 different storylines going on. And I do felt that if they had spent maybe 15 more minutes or maybe in half an hour sitting down like, okay, how can we flesh this out and make this better? It would have been better. Like, they could have tacked on a bit more at the end of the climax of the film. And I think it would have wrapped up things a little bit nicely. Like, Willem Dafoe's character, it was cool. They were able to introduce him. What they did with him was great. It built up. And then it just drops off right at the end. And I don't know. I get it. He was kind of a comedic relief. So either they could have, cut him and not exactly brought him in so much, or they could have actually expanded a little bit upon it. Same thing with Monica Bellucci with her character as Beetlejuice's ex-wife. I get that they expanded a little bit of the backstory with it, but when it came into the climax, there wasn't really much going on with that. And I was hoping that they would have expanded upon that a bit more, like made it more epic. Like if you watch the original Beetlejuice movie, literally the end of it was just, there was a lot going on basically all around that, and it was really crazy and climatic, and it brought like a lot of things together in the original movie. In this, it did, but it felt very rushed, and it wasn't really satisfying. I mean, after all, it's Willem Dafoe. We always want to see him get a little bit more spotlight than he usually does. And it would have been great to see him like bounce off of Beetlejuice or Michael Keaton's character a lot more. Like, you know, like actually had that crazy chemistry that both of them probably could wing together. After all, Michael Keaton's able to get pretty crazy. I mean, you seen the original Batman movie? Come on now, you want to get nuts? And he could have easily. I mean, obviously he's Beetlejuice and he's already crazy and channeling that energy, but having a chemistry of someone who played the Green Goblin and Beetlejuice together, actually fully embracing that at the end, it would have been good. And then they could have easily expanded upon like Monica's scenes as her being Beetlejuice's ex-girlfriend, with him having a little bit more chemistry with Michael Keaton in here, and fleshing that out a lot more. Like a couple more dialogue type things that would have brought up a thing, like a reference back to how Beetlejuice like had her ring or something, you know, and was trying to marry Lydia with it in the first movie or something, and just gone crazy with that, given more of a bit of an explanation besides the fact that's explained to. And then let's talk about some of the issues I had with the main storyline. I was okay with them having, you know, 3 different storylines going on, but I really wanted them to like flesh them out a little bit more. I mean, the movie could have easily been a bit longer. You have basically set up from the last thing. You see where the characters are now from the first Beetlejuice movie. You see that Lydia now has a daughter, and her daughter is really distant from Lydia, and thinks that Lydia is somewhat of a joke of a mom, or not a joke of a mom, but a joke of a person type thing. And, you know, and it's interesting to see that chemistry pop off or whatnot. And then they introduce another ghost into here, played by some other random actor that I can't remember the name, that makes Astrid, Jenna Ortega's character, have a little side story, which ends up being kind of just a plot point to actually amp things up into where they're going into the underworld. And maybe if they, I don't know, if they expanded on more like dead people, and no, I mean, my point is, I just think if they expanded more upon showing more dead people in the real world, it would have fleshed it out a lot better, and it would have been less, you know, plotty, which I think probably would have moved the main story just further along a lot more smoothly. Now that I've ranted about all the stuff I didn't like about the movie for like the past 10 minutes, thanks for watching, by the way. If you want me to do more ranting type videos like this, hit the subscribe button. I'm just rusty at this. I haven't done this for a while. Check out my other reviews too. But yeah, I honestly enjoyed watching this movie. I mean, from like a Michael Keaton fan, from like seeing all of those old actors come back and just reprise the role, and how they actually just sucked back into their old characters from the old actors. They really carry the film over. And I felt that it was a lot of fun. I like that they kind of wander around a little bit more in the underworld and see bit more of what's going on there. Like how they revisited Saturn. It was great. I liked how they did the Olay thing with Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice. I think we only seen that in the cartoon. He did that a lot in the cartoon. I remember that. Also, like how they dealt with the fact that the Charles Dietz character was dead. I mean, they have like half of his torso completely gone and just gurgling noises and whatnot. And it works. I mean, you can't exactly get Jeffrey Jones to reprise the role, but he's also kind of part of the story, so you still need him in the movie. So, I mean, that worked out pretty good. And it was comedic on how they did it. Which is funny enough because the animated cartoon is its own universe aside from the actual canon Beetlejuice mythology. I mean, I like that a lot. And then the story that they set, the plot that they set up, was actually pretty good. And I just had fun watching that. Yes, it did have a lot of issues though. But this is the theatrical release. I mean, Tim Burton can touch it up in an extended cut or something like that after it gets released. And that's where he'll probably make most of his money anyway. Because from what I understand, nobody makes money off of streaming anything. Whether it be content creators or actors or anything like that. Like, no one makes money off of that. They make money off the merch where the real money's made. But yeah. Don't want to dwell too much longer on this and waste too much of your time. But I'll say that if you are a Beetlejuice fan, and if you're a fan, yeah, go see it. Definitely go see it. And go see it for like the pre-existing actors and, you know, their work into it. Because they nailed it. Michael Keaton nailed it, obviously, as Beetlejuice. He still had it. Just like he's still Batman. Yeah, I don't want to waste too much of your time further, but those are just my initial thoughts or whatnot, my first impressions or whatever. My extended discussion. I don't know what I'm going to call this. Yeah, Beetlejuice, or I'll just call this my Beetlejuice discussion video. Blah. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later.